Hello there and welcome back to another edition of the Hot Lap Classic Remastered, and this time we'll take a look at the 1998 Alfa Romeo 166 3-litre V6 24 valve. This is the final Alfa Romeo to take on the course, so of course it had to be Alfa Red. Sort of for that, but also primarily because it looks so cool on this 166, and what an absolute baller you would have been in 1998 to drive around in this Alfa 166 V6. You'd have bought it not for the resale value, because it would have been worth nothing the second you drove it off the lot. You bought it because you were a baller. Very cool car. Big fan of the 166. Big fan of this 3-litre V6, the good old Busso engine. One of the great V6 engines of all time. Now, with that all being said, while this may be a fantastic engine, when it wormed its way into the GTV, the twin spark sort of turned out to be a little bit more drivable, and the 2-litre twin spark is the quickest 166 we've had go around the course. There are 3 of them in this game for some reason, and I'm not complaining. There is the twin spark, the 2.5 V6 Sportronic, and then this 3-litre V6. Obviously this one's the most expensive and most powerful, so be interesting to see. Obviously, the twin spark is, I think, turbocharged. Well, it gets the turbo upgrade. It's not turbocharged from factory, obviously. Meanwhile, this V6 is a big naturally aspirated lump. So, yeah, I'm not expecting any sort of records to be set on fire with this, but I'm expecting it to look very cool and, yeah, just have a nice sort of careful romp in to getting Alfa Romeo into the history books for this series. Anyways, front engine, front wheel drive, 416 horsepower, 1,343 kilos. I think that makes this one of the heaviest front wheel drive cars in this game. It's definitely got to be up there. Anyways, to find out how the Alfa Romeo 166 V6 gets along, it is going to get 6 laps of the Motorsports Land track in order to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak version. That car set a time of a 25.696. The 166 is unlikely to beat that. There is a lot of numbers in this episode. The quickest 166 was the twin spark. That set a time of a 30.832. So that's the target time for this car. Admittedly, I think most of the 166s in this series ran ages ago, so that's sort of well, that's one of the reasons why it's the final Alpha, because, you know, there are quite a few of these, and as it turns out, they took a little while to get through. So there's more 166s in this game than there are GTVs. Well, that's thinking. I think that might actually be true of sort of GT4 onwards as well, actually. I mean, there was one of these and then one GTV, I think, right? Or was there 2 GT? I can't remember. Anyways, this handles alright. It's sort of... I'm trying to think the best way to describe this. There's definitely front end plow. There's no getting around that. It is heavy on the front end. It feels heavy on the front end. But I suppose it's got that sort of front wheel drive, point at a corner. I mean, as long as you accelerate, eventually it'll sort itself out quality. That I quite like in a front wheel drive car in this game. They feel very plowy, which, depending on what it is a good or a bad thing. Obviously, quite a lot of the time it's a bad thing, but in this sort of 1,300 kilo Alpha, I wasn't really sure what else it can do other than plow, so there we go. 30.773. I've had to sacrifice this lap slightly. I'd say that, actually. We managed to not take to the skies on this lap. It's all about just keeping that rear end under control. It's still sort of got a bit of Alpha character to it, you know. It still handles a little bit youthful, even though it's an executive saloon car. It's still got a little bit of a sort of, you know, get up and go about it, which I really like. We are going to understeer straight into the jump there. I knew that was coming. And that's obviously mucked up the entire line through there. But no, good car this, actually. I've got to be honest, actually. I'm pleasantly surprised. And I think, to be honest with you, this sort of V6 lump suits this car far more than the Twin Spark did. And it has gone quicker than the Twin Spark as well by about 0.3, which I suppose makes sense. Around most tracks, to be clear, this would be quicker than the Twin Spark, obviously, because it just has more power. But the Twin Spark does sort of benefit from a little bit of a better weight distribution, i.e. not all at the front all the time, and also, again, just sort of punchier acceleration from that turbo kit. But no, I'm pretty happy with that. That felt pretty consistent. It felt pretty good. Potentially more time in it, sure, but no, I think we did pretty darn well there, all things considered. A 30.5 3.2 will place this into 310th. It goes in between the Nissan Silvia Spec R and the Nissan Fairlady Z version S2-seater. It is quicker than a Lexus IS200, a Lancia Stratos, that is funny, quicker than the Corolla 11 BZR, the Subaru Alcione. It's quicker than the Alfa Romeo Spider to its Twin Spark, which says more about the Spider than it does about this, I assure you. That car was not good. It is actually quicker than the quickest front-wheel drive Celica. And it's this thing. It's quicker than an XJR as well. That's something worth mentioning. Yeah, good car. Like I say, considering sort of going into this expecting absolutely nothing from this, just sort of a fun little romp to round off the Alphas, because the Alphas have been pretty quick, sort of overall around this course. That turned out to be better than I expected, so yeah, good job, Alfa. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. Join me next time when I'll be driving something completely different. Until then, farewell.